Hi, welcome to Social Studies. We are going to continue talking about natural resources that we have found in Michigan. If you have not already gone through your reading today, make sure you go and complete that, and then also your first video for today. Below that, there are some vocabulary words that I want you to take a look at as well. And then once that is all done, you are in the right spot here. We're going to continue talking about our natural resources that are specific to Michigan. That means, what do we find that is a natural resource from Michigan? Well, all of these that I have listed here in these categories are going to be natural resources that are found in Michigan. Let's take a look at this chart to see what we're looking at. In the top, we have the natural resource. Notice how all of this column is blank right now. That means you guys will have to help me find the natural resource. Then we also have, where is it found in Michigan? And then also, how is it used? What do we use it for? So we're going to be talking about that here right now. Let's take a look at our first one. So we don't know what our natural resource is yet, but I can tell you it is around and throughout Michigan. How is it used? It's used for shipping, recreation, which means to do fun stuff, to do things that are just fun on our own time. It's used for drinking and fishing. Any idea of what this natural resource is? If you said water, you would be correct. Water is the natural resource that we're talking about here. Can you think of any other ways that it is used? You might have came up with a great answer as well. I'm also going to add, it's good for generating power. Oops. Generating power. So that means we can use, for example, a dam to have the water push through it, and it creates hydroelectric energy. So that's another way that we use water as a natural resource here in Michigan. You might have come up with another great answer. Anytime throughout the video, if I ask a question and you need more time, you can always pause it and wait until you're ready to move on. Let's look at our next one. It is found in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's found in the northern part of the Lower Peninsula. How it's used for shade, paper, and lumber. Any idea what this natural resource is? Forests or trees, very good. Trees are very surrounding our area of Michigan. It's a very popular natural resource that we have here. We have trees everywhere. Do you have another idea of what we use trees for? Well, we can use trees, the wood from trees, for furniture. And also houses. You might have come up with another answer as well, but those are just a couple more that we could add in there. Nice job. Let's keep going. Our next one that we're trying to figure out, this is found in the southern part of the Lower Peninsula. It's along the Lake Michigan shoreline of the Lower Peninsula. How it's used? It's used for farming. I'm going to add another word in here. Does that give you any other clue of what this natural resource is? If you said fertile soil or farmland, you would be correct. Michigan does have great soil and great land for farming. We do have a lot of it that occurs in the spring, in the summer, and into our fall when we do some harvesting there. So another great natural resource that we have here. You might have been to an apple farm before. You might have been to a pumpkin patch. You might have been to a cherry tree farm. We have lots of amazing resources here that are possible because of this fertile soil that we have in farmland. Let's look at our next one. This one could be a little challenging. Think about it. It's found in iron and copper in the Upper Peninsula, in limestone, salt, and sand in the Lower Peninsula. What is it used for? It's used for construction. It can also be used for manufacturing. Manufacturing is the creation of something. What do you think this natural resource could be? Minerals. If you said minerals, you would be correct here. So minerals are things like iron and copper and limestone and salt and things that we can mine from the ground, we can pull from the ground to then be used throughout our lives. The Upper Peninsula does have a lot of mines, which means they go deep into the ground, and people would go into these mines and dig for these different minerals. So that was very, very popular, and it is still used to be pulling out these minerals from the ground today. Lastly, this is found in the Lower Peninsula of Michigan. It's used for fuel, for heating. Now, if you watched the first video today, they talked a lot about this natural resource. See if you can think of it. Not only fuel for heating, but also fuel for transportation. Think about cars. Think about buses. What do we use in those? This would be oil and gas. We use oil and gas to heat our homes, to allow us to run our cars, to go from place to place. So these are just a couple of examples of natural resources here in Michigan. Let's take a look at your assignment for today. This is the assignment that you will be completing. It's called Resources of Michigan. This map shows a lot of different resources that we have here in Michigan. You're going to take a look at it, and then you will answer the questions on the right using the map to help you answer those questions. So our first question says, how many types of resources does the map show? Well, you can go ahead and look at our legend or key. Remember, we learned how to read a legend or map key in one of our earlier units. You're going to take a look at this, and you can just count up. I would take my marker and go along the side here. Let me make sure and just count. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And you could put that for how many types of resources that we have. The next one, you're going to be thinking about what is the most abundant. Think about that word abundant. Go ahead and say it, abundant. What do you think that means? Well, when it says what is the most abundant resource, this means which one do we have the most of. So you're going to look at your map. I'm going to erase my numbers along the side here. You're going to look at your map, and you need to figure out which one do we see the most of. Now, a great way you could do this is I would use my map on the side, or my legend or key, and use my map. Starting with lumber, I would go through and count how much lumber, how many sources of lumber do I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 at the Upper Peninsula, and at the bottom I have 1. So that would give me 7. I would put 7 next to my lumber. I would go through and do this for the rest of the resources that I see. Make sure you are looking carefully at the Upper and Lower Peninsula. You're going to look for the one that has the most pictures there. So for example, the tree had 7 pictures of the tree. That means that is a location where this resource is found. You're going to do that for the rest of them. Which has the most pictures on our map? That would be your answer there. Lastly, what resources are available in the Lower Peninsula that are not present in the Upper Peninsula? So take a look at our Lower Peninsula here in Michigan. What resources do we see down here that I don't see at the top? So for example, we could not put trees for this or lumber for this answer because there is a tree down here in the Lower Peninsula, but they're also in the upper. That would not be an appropriate answer for this question. You need to figure out what resource is available, so what resource is there in the Lower Peninsula that is not in the Upper Peninsula. All right, that is your assignment today. Reach out to your teachers if you have any questions, and have a great day.